Hi, and welcome to PJ and the Beard. This is our 19 conversations series that we've been doing as an hour of distraction. This is number 3, and our guest today is Sebastian Falvo. How are you doing,
everybody? Good. How about you guys?
Good. I mean, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, of course. I got nothing else to do. Let's do it. Come on.
That's right.
Come on.
Right.
Wait, you're gonna distract me for an hour?
Right.
We're talking about guitars. Yeah.
Oh, we're doing this anyway.
Right. I've been looking forward. I look forward to these every day just to do something different.
Of course. Everyone.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that, because we've joked that this live stream is basically a conversation that Jason and I would have had anyway.
Oh, and those are the best. Those are the best interviews, podcasts. It's just people doing what they usually would because it's normal, natural.
And now today we've invited in somebody that we feel like we know because we've watched a million videos and bought many pedals because of this guy. But we're meeting him for the first time, and we're excited to get to know him.
I love talking to people about anything, and not just from love pedal stuff, but from everything. It's so funny that anyone knows who I am at all.
Right.
Same.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting because like there's another guy that's a fan of this channel, a friend of the channel, I would say, instead of a fan, and we met him through the channel. And when I said that we were having you on, he knew right away because he found us through Love Pedal, and he knows all your Love Pedal videos.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Pete Hickson just jumped in the chat and said good morning from down under. So
wow, it's early there. One of my best friends is Australian, and he lives in Perth, and it would be 4:30 in the morning there.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So if he's in Sydney, it's probably 7.
Good morning, Pete.
Yeah, it's very early morning. Good for you. Good for you getting up to watch this at 4 in the morning.
Right. So, in keeping what we've been doing with these, we've been doing a clip of the day and then a pedal of the day and things like that. Mm-hmm. So we thought we'd start with the clip of the day, and we went out and grabbed one of Sebastian's YouTube videos.
Thank you for that.
He's demoing a pedal that he demoed so well that Pat and I both bought it.
That's hilarious.
It was like right.
2 of them. Wow.
We've been doing this channel like
15 months?
Over a year, and this would have been kind of like right in the beginning of the channel.
Yeah.
Where we didn't have some of these things figured out. And of course, Sean Michael did the Love Pedal sale, and we both were looking at what he had up, and we both watched this video. We both bought this pedal in like a week later.
Yeah, it's very different than a normal. I'm a big fuzz fan, and it's very different than a normal like a fuzz face or I have a Zonk machine, which is my favorite, which isn't a Love Pedal, but it's my favorite. And yeah, it's really cool. So that's a good one. There's a lot of lower. We could talk about it, but anyway.
Yeah, let's play the clip. Pete said 6 a.m. in Adelaide.
Yeah, Adelaide. Yeah. Oh yeah, nice.
All right, so here we go. All right, there you go.
I made a mistake in there. I don't know if I should watch that anymore.
Well, if you made a mistake, it doesn't.
I could even play you the mistake. Actually, I know exactly where it is. But anyway, continue. That's cool. I haven't watched that clip in a while. It's got way too many views on it, but yeah.
It does 11,000 views. This is on his YouTube page, which is Sebastian Falvo Music.
I'll start posting more on there. I'll start posting more on there. I don't do it enough. Everyone gives me grief about it.
So go out and subscribe. So yeah, I mean that's a pedal, that octave thing that it does. That's
it's lower
thing.
It's in the lower register. If you turn the gain down, you get an octave down on some notes. But those are always the best pedals. That they don't. There is no answer to what it does. It doesn't like it does this one thing and then that's it. Usually it's either that and then there's an in between, which is most pedals where it does a bunch of things and they give you all of it to do. And then the pedals that you don't know what they're going to do. Those are the fun ones. They always sound different. That's fun.
Yeah, I like when you were rolling, because I watched most of that video again today, when you roll that when you roll the volume back a little bit and get up on the high notes, and you get those high octaves kind of.
I don't know how that happens. It's just magic, I guess. In there, I don't really know. I wish I knew how to build pedals, but then I probably wouldn't have bought that or been sent that or anything. Yeah.
Cool. So you want to do pedal of the day? Pedal of the day. Like it's a big thing here, but what do you have? What do you
I've got? This is a new thing for me that it is it's all the rage these days, and I've taken the bait and I understand. So this is a Blues Power by Jesse Davey, and I don't know. It's not a clone of anything. It's his own circuit, and it does. I know everyone says this, and it's awful because we just always say bullshit buzzwords, but it does do a lot of things, and it can be. I know the transparent word is nonsense. Nothing's really transparent, and that would be bad if it was. It's called a boost, but it does do a lot. Like I've been really listening to like a lot of jump blues and swing stuff, and in the warm setting with things set probably like that. It sounds like makes my Les Paul sound like a broken up neck pickup only hollow body. It's incredible. Good for fuzz. It's really great. Clean boost. It pushes my amp nice. Beautiful.
More of a fuzz pedal or more of an overdrive?
No. It's a overdrive, and it's not a tube screamer. We can get into how much I hate tube screamers if you want, but very controversial for someone who demos pedals. But I just can't stand it. Can't stand them. They don't sound good. But this thing is nothing like that. And you can get nice mid step sounds. The edge thing is like adding more highs in. The little switch. Glass is like somewhere in between. It's loud. There's gain on tap. It's nice.
Nice. And who makes that again?
Jesse Davey at King Tone Pedals, King Tone Guitar. Okay. Yeah, he's a monster guitar player. Really SRV school thing, and SRV is not really my favorite. He's great, and I'm one of those guys that's like I don't really want to be SRV, but he does this thing, and he's amazing. His tone is just everything's great.
And he has other pedals in that because that pedal is familiar, but I'm not sure I'm familiar with
that. A lot of them have the same the vibe as most pedals. I mean, like George Fuller stuff at full tone looks like full tone pedals. It's the same thing with his. If they don't like look all weird, and it's a look. Yeah, it's all hand etched with a laser. Like it's all actually, it's not actually like screen printed. It's all etched. So like Blues Power is literally sunk into the metal casing. It's super quality. Yeah, it's great.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking, just because, and I know you're not like, it's funny because we get people on here and we have Brian Ewald on, and everybody thinks, oh, he's the PRS demo guy, right? And so you're not like the love pedal demo guy. You do a lot more than that. I
mainly have done that though. I did some quilter stuff, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I grabbed this one, which is just the
classic
rubber chicken. Because I mean, oh my gosh, we've sold some to buy other stuff, but I mean, there's probably still like 15 or 20 love pedals sitting around. And
I had a ridiculous amount and sold a few, and not even sold. I gave a bunch to people, professors, and because I just had too many that I would never use, and they all ended up on a board. I'm like, I don't need 20 pedals to do anything.
Right. So. And this is kind of unique. It being that it's an envelope filter,
sounds good.
I went through this like envelope filter rabbit hole trying to find the one
I
wanted, and one of the things I really like about this one, typically you really got to run your guitar hot to make the filter.
Yeah, you don't on that one.
Right, you can actually kind of roll back on the volume a little bit. You can clean the volume up if you have a dry pedal on. Clean it up with your volume knob and kick this on, and it'll still work. So
it's like a talk box. That's what it sounds like to me, more than a envelope. It's an envelope filter, right? That's the name of it. It does auto wah stuff, and it sounds really good with gain. On the demo I did, I think I still had my orange. I had a Rockaverb half stack when I was younger and wanted to have lots of gain from the amp. And I put the gain channel on with that pedal, and it sounds really good with gain. And that was like how I liked it. I didn't like it clean. I'm not a big fan of that, but like with gain, it sounds awesome. Fuzz and stuff. It's really useful.
I really like it. Even clean or dirty, I've been able to get kind of the sound that I wanted out, which is more like that Jerry Garcia tone. That
definitely. Tone. It's good at that too.
So, Yeah, like
so my friend Brody jumping in the chat. Sebastian, you're in Nashville now. Is that true?
Yeah, right now I'm actually in New Jersey. That's why I was asking you guys about that. I'm home with family doing this stuff and working from here.
Okay, that's what I wondered too, because I know we'll get into it. You know, you went to Berkeley, so there was stuff Boston, and then thought you were in Nashville. My friend Brody jumped in. He's living in Franklin. He lives in Franklin.
Oh, nice, Brody. Yeah, we'll have to catch up at some point. I live in Bellevue. We're moving soon, but that area.
Okay. Yeah, so he's not a huge pedal guy, but because of our show, he's actually purchased a love pedal or two.
Someone owes me a lot of money.
Exactly, right? Like we're having Sebastian Falvo on, and between him and that darn gold Les Paul, we have spent a lot of money on love pedals.
Oh, yeah. I've had other guitars recently, and they all get sold. I'll get some.
I don't know.
At this point.
I don't segue. Maybe we don't really know much about that guitar other than we see it a lot. It sounds great. So,
thank you for that, by the way. Yeah, it's so. What do you think it is? Because everyone thinks it's something much more spectacular than it is. It just has been aged, and I did the checking on. I don't know if you can see it in the thing, but I did all the checking on it.
Let me make it bigger.
Except for this, which is not on purpose. So it looks ridiculous.
Did you do the Danish Pete hairdryer thing?
I absolutely did.
Yeah, right.
So the only thing, and then the back is all scuffed up. It looks really old. This stuff I didn't do. I didn't age it. Just the top I aged. Everything else is from hitting it on things. I've had this guitar for almost a decade now, but it's
not.
Are the
locking tuners stock or?
Yeah. Okay. So this is what's funny. It's a traditional Pro. It's like a push pull bull. I'm not gonna I should probably not swear, but bull crap. These do this. Well, they don't anymore, but they did. And then I realized that that's dumb because it's a Les Paul, and that's a complete waste of time, and it will never sound like a Strat or a Tele. It could sound more like a Tele than a Strat, but the pickups are changed. A student of mine, actually, who's brilliant, Richard, is sending me a wiring harness that he had in his Gibson custom shop that he got. Because this one has all this extra stuff in here for this, and I think it takes away from the tone. It's not 50s wiring, but other than that, it's stock, like electronics-wise, except pickup switch. The pickups at Gibson, I don't even care if Marky Nisi sees this; they're shit. So this is a Tyson Tone Preacher's Daughter, awesome pickups. I think he's in California. And this is a Mojo tone, which is good, but needs to be changed. It's a little boomy in this guitar. The demo I did sounds really clear, but that wasn't my gear. It was my best friend's gear, and he's got a Milkman and a deluxe reverb. It sounds great. So it's a little boomy, but other than that, frets are normal standard.
You've been through a couple pickups in that too, haven't you?
Yeah, this was on YouTube. No one would have seen, or even Instagram, no one would have seen the original pickups in this guitar at all. Except for this one was originally a 57 Classic. And this was originally a Burstbucker 3 when I bought it in 2011. Yeah, 11. I didn't buy it. I was a kid. But this was a Lindy Fralin pure PAF that was a copy of a teacher at Berkeley has a bunch of really great vintage guitars. It was 63, 335, black inlay, cherry red. The Clapton spec, and he had an extra pickup that Lindy Fralin made him. So a bunch of those videos was that in the bridge, and now this is Tyson Tone. It sounds a little bit better. And it's not potted. I don't like potted pickups, so there's no wax on either of these. So they make a ton of noise, and they just sound nice. So that's what that is. The low output.
It's funny you mentioned Mark Agnesi because your secret's probably safe with us, but Brody ran into him in the grocery store the other day.
Really?
Yeah. So we'll try to.
And he was wearing the shirt from the show.
Oh my gosh! Does he know the show, Mark?
No, not yet.
Not yet. He will. I'm gonna after we're done on here, I'm gonna share all this with people and everything.
All right, great. Yeah.
That's funny. You mentioned. Did he say he had the shirt on, and Mark mentioned the shirt? Is that
he liked the shirt? I don't know if he knew what it was.
Cool shirt.
Okay.
Well, Jason gets credit for that. He did the design of the logo, but yeah.
Awesome. That's but yeah, go ahead.
No, it's fine. What you're gonna say is probably way more thing than me.
Not true. I was gonna say that's it. I battle with strings all the time. I'm pretty good now, but I play in other people's bands, which means I need to tune down to E flat for one of the bands I'm in, and then the other ones I sometimes need to go drop D. But in a perfect world, these are 9 to 46, and I was really heavy for a long time, and it was kind of just like these sound better on this guitar for sure, with fuzz and with everything. So I'm gonna make a set of 9.5 to 46 because the 9's a little, you know.
Do you have a particular brand you like?
Always D'Addario, but and then I looked up. It'll cost $10 to make a set of D'Addarios by buying singles, which I think is ridiculous because it's $5 for a pack of the same exact kinds of strings. They package it up. I don't really know why that is, but always D'Addario forever. I did Kurt Mangan for a little while, but
I was going to say because you could probably do that at Kurt Mangan.
They do, and I made the set on the website, and I was like, I could put my name on it, which I'm not Joe Bonamassa. I don't know if I need to do that, but go ahead.
So I'm just curious about your background, right? Because again, we don't want to talk about love pedal the whole time, right? Because we can like Jason already said though, when we had Brian Ewald on, he does the PRS thing, but that's only a very small part of what he does.
Yeah, he's a monster. I know who that is.
And I feel like kind of the same way with you, even though I don't know you, but it's just interesting because I kind of backed into the fact that I realized that you were at Berklee, right? So
yeah, for 4 years.
But what's the journey of your playing, right? Like you start playing, who are you influenced by, and then you decide, wow, I'm going to go to Berklee, right? Like that's a big deal.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem. It's definitely a big deal, but I never not wanted to go. I never didn't not want to go. You know what I mean? I always wanted to go to Berklee from when I was 10.
Right.
So when I was 7, I started playing. Probably before that, we had an acoustic that my dad had, and then my brother, who's upstairs right now, probably causing trouble, broke. He knocked it over, and the headstock came clean off the thing. And I was real upset about it. So my parents were like, oh, he obviously cares about this guitar. That's not his. So then when I was 7, I got a guitar for my birthday, Christmas. And then that night I went in the basement and tried to figure out Sunshine Your Love. So that would be where Clapton comes in. And that's kind of it. And I probably played it. I think I played it like, which is wrong. I mean, it's kind of right. It's in the wrong key, but it's definitely wrong. So, and then in 5th grade, when I was 10, I was like, I want to go to Berklee. I told my parents that. I don't know why, but I did. And I then went through high school and had teachers and didn't have a teacher properly until I was probably 16, 15, 14, around there. And so I was self-taught for most of that. And then when it came time to audition and apply to schools, I applied to 2 schools and only auditioned for 1, and that was Berklee. And then I went to Berklee when I in 2014. Yeah.
So being self-taught, and then when did because I imagine you have to be pretty accomplished in theory and sight reading and everything to get into Berklee.
To a point, definitely. But they look for a lot of potential. So the year I was in, which I found out later on, which is not to up me anymore, but it was one of the ones where there were a lot more applicants than previous years. There was like 5,000 or 6,000 applicants, and only take like 1,000 people. So the rate of getting in was low, but everything kind of hit at the right. All the stars aligned because I did a Jeff Beck piece. I did "Because You Ended As Lovers," and I did that for years and years. I went to the camps at Berklee and did a 5-week camp at Berklee where I was like, okay, I definitely want to come here because we had to go to class, we had tests, we had homework. We had 5 weeks. I was 16, it was 15, it was a long time. And we stayed in the dorms and got the whole deal. And we're in Boston, man. It's amazing. So that was awesome. But you got to know, okay, what it was really, if anyone's curious. And I'm thinking about doing a video on this. Do you guys know Richie Peters? He's also on Instagram.
I do.
Okay, you should definitely. He's a monster. He has an amazing YouTube channel too. Him and I are probably going to do a video on what's it like at Berklee and what you got to be able to do to get. So I'm from the school of you have to know how to play and have to understand lots of different things about actually playing more than it is the theory to get into Berklee, because you can be taught theory. You can't. There are people that just have it and people that don't have it. And if you don't have it, it's really hard to be taught it. Whatever it is, it's an answer that can't be answered. It's not a thing. So when I practice for I could not know what I'm doing, but it can still sound. So many people we love don't know what they're doing. They don't understand theory-wise what they're doing, and it doesn't really matter. So I had to still read and do all that stuff at the audition and know my theory, and I had to go over chords and I had to comp and things like that. But it's probably not as crazy of an interview as you'd think. But now the person I had my audition with just so happened was a massive Jeff Beck fan. I had him as my teacher at camps, and you don't know who's going to be in there. He's a guitar player. Julian Casper is his name. Everyone needs to go look up Julian Casper. He is like Hendrix, jazz, Jeff Beck, just Allen holds were absolutely insane. If you want to know about Strat Tone and a Marshall and a Univibe, other than Doyle Bramhall and people like that, no one knows who Julian Casper is. Look him up. But anyway, so Jeff Beck's his favorite guitar player. I played a Jeff Beck tune. I did it rather well because I practiced it for hours after high school because that's all I could think about. Because high school sucked. And then that happened, and I played over Little Blues and did all that. And then about a week later, I got my notice. Before the last semester of high school, I got into Berklee. So the rest of the time, I was like, might as well pack it in.
I'm out.
There's nothing to do here anymore. Can I go to lunch and sit around all these people? Get this.
A lot of doodling.
Oh, my God. No, I was a good student. I had my headphones in for probably 4 months. Still from high school the entire time.
We won't mention at this point that Jason's a high school teacher.
Are you really? Yeah. What do you teach?
So, probably your favorite subject, biology.
I'm sorry to your fellow biology teachers.
Your bio teacher didn't have a guitar sitting in the classroom, right? Because you would have been hanging out in my classroom because
that was actually the one science, and not just saying this, that I tell people this all the time, that I could honestly see the value in, even if you're not a scientist. Chemistry and physics? What? This is the only physics I know. When you do this, that happens, and gravity wants to bring you down, and you got to overcome that. Other than that, physics and stuff. Anyway, but yeah, that's great. So yeah, that's really, and then Berklee's a whole other, that we can talk about that forever. That was such invaluable time in my life. And it wasn't that long ago. I'm only 23 now, so.
Brody asked a question.
Yeah.
Do you know a guy named Lawrence Nemens?
I do not.
Okay. Totally on the Berklee trail. Tyler Larson, do you know Tyler? He does Music Is Win. He's got a huge.
I don't know. I know who that is, obviously, because he's massive. But I don't know him personally. He went to.
I think, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yeah.
That's cool.
He's in Nashville.
Is he really?
Yep. He moved from North Carolina to Nashville. He's there.
Nice. Yeah, I'll have to message him. Be cool.
You were a puppy. Ben said you were a puppy at 23. It's funny. I was watching the Monkey Fist. So when we do these things, like we do try and find out about people a little bit. So I'd been at your website.
So that website. Don't go to the web. Don't anyone who's watching this. Don't go to the website. It needs to be worked on. Big. That thing is so old. That's actually not a website. So that was a Turnitin, call it Berklee thing. Like it wasn't even. I had to do that tape for acceptance at Berklee before my interview and all that. So that needs to be updated really bad.
Well, I'd make a MySpace joke here, but nobody would get it.
I get it.
Good.
I know what I used to have one. I used to put a song.
All right.
Everyone else had like some pop song, and I'm like, you guys want to listen to "Steppin' Out" by John Mayall and the Blues Breakers? When you come to my page, anyway. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was watching. So I had that like idea that you went to Berklee.
Yeah,
that you have that you're educated because a lot of, and people were saying here in the chat, I forget who it was. Pete Hickson said, he's been playing since 70 and can't read a note. My musical education's pretty limited. Played in the high school marching band, played drums, whatever.
You went to the new school?
What? No.
Oh, I thought you said you went to the new school. I was like, and now you.
My education. I play drums in the high school marching band. I think I can read notes, but I can't do it on guitar. Whatever.
Okay, fair enough. It's
so
hard.
I'm watching the YouTube video, and then you start cranking out. I forget which song. Well, it was a ZZ Top tune.
Probably.
So watching you play the ZZ Top tune, I'm thinking like, it's funny to see, to think about like, yeah, you get this really kind of intense musical education that I'm very jealous of because I would love to have it.
I'm very lucky.
But we're still copping licks from
yeah, because and that's probably what the video when I make it with my friend Richie, what it's going to be about is because it's a very heavy jazz school, but also it's probably the only school in the world where music wise that's on that level that you don't just have to play jazz or classical at. It's not necessary. Obviously, I did not do that at all.
That's what I was.
Jazz. Yeah. I didn't need to. There's so many guitar players here on faculty that don't play jazz. Now I love it, and I grew to really love it. Now when I work on like swing stuff or jump blues, which I've been doing during the quarantine, it's a lot of it's like Charlie Parker stuff or Charlie Christian stuff, and like Tiny Grimes and people like that who are like sophisticated blues guitar players. But it's still jump, swing, and jazz is in there with chromaticism and all this stuff. So
that's what jumped out at me, right? Because I admittedly don't know much about Berklee. You just think of like
the
top echelon of schools, and you picture all of the classical and all of that. But in my little journey to find out more about you than Love Pedal, I think I stumbled across your like senior recital, for lack of a better term.
Wow, that's out there? Did you go? Is it on? It's on YouTube.
I don't know where it was. I found
anyway,
it. But,
that's crazy. I hate it.
Well, but it was wild. I'm like, you know, I expected, you know, Segovia with like a classical guitar in the proper playing position. Definitely. But no, it was great. Like, and the obviously, I'm assuming the other guys that were with you were maybe fellow students, but keyboard player, bass player, drummer. The drummer was out of frame, but my goodness, that guy was great. So I was just shocked. Like, here's like a senior recital for a guy at Berklee, and you busted through some really great stuff and had could tell that some of the impromptu stuff, but then some of the stuff kind of reined it back in, giving cues to the band. It was like being out at a club watching a band play. It's not what I expected for a Berklee recital.
That's good. I didn't want that, and I think that helped me stand out at school because I was gonna do me. I'm not gonna just play jazz as what you're supposed to do. That's ridiculous. I'm not. People are way better at it. There's a couple kids I went to school, as you'd imagine, who are jazz guitar players, and I just can't fathom what their ear is incredible in a completely different way than mine, and that just their ability and their touch and I used to go over friends' houses. You'll love this actually. So at Berklee, I was in a bunch of labs, and it wasn't just me. There's a Jimi Hendrix lab, John Scofield lab, Jeff Beck lab. So I took those. It was awesome. And Julian Casper, the one I was talking about before, teaches the Jeff Beck and the Jimi Hendrix lab, and we like read through notation where he wrote on the notation. Fret 3 3/4 is where the harmonic is on the tune, and I'm not kidding. That's legit where it is. If you do it, it works. There's a harmonic in a Jeff Beck song that's literally in between the 3rd and 4th fret. It's crazy. And those are the kinds of things I focused on because that's what I wanted to get out of it. Because there's no way everyone here just plays jazz. There's no way. That's impossible. There's no way I'll only play jazz and didn't do anything else. They probably understand it, but these people got to have their own style, some funk and all. So that's what I did. So I took lessons from in classes, and I felt it was important to do to hone in what I'm good at. I understand what I'm good at, what I'm not good at, which is important.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to play with people that are maybe in the percussion program or in.
Oh yeah, because it ends up being that we're just all musicians. No one cares what someone does. I mean, just like at a regular college where you run into people who are just like, oh yeah, I'm a poli-sci major and I'm an English major, all this stuff. Same thing as like I'm a drummer. So then you just start hanging out with people that are, when you're not playing music, we just all hang out, and then when we need to call someone, we go, oh, let's call Monaco, or let's call somebody else, let's call someone from, and there's I think 86 different countries at Berklee's represented. And given
pretty easy to get a jam session going.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And this way, we had to get sometimes there were so many people going to play, you couldn't get a room. Like, and imagine that there's basements, like a basement of a whole block. That's rehearsal rooms. Like, no, they're booked. Sorry, try again tomorrow for 2 days in advance. So yeah, lots of people.
Who was the drummer we saw that was an instructor there, Pat, that was playing with
oh yeah. He was playing with Stanley Jordan.
He was playing with Stanley Jordan. I'm pulling his name up right now. He's a Berklee drummer instructor. Kenwood Denard.
Kenwood Denard. Okay, yeah. I was in his he's a monster. I was in his he taught the Jimi Hendrix ensemble, and I was in that.
Yeah,
he was with Stanley
keyboard
monster.
He was on the Stanley Jordan tour where Stanley basically dressed up like Hendrix.
Yep.
But then the drummer also was playing the keys. Like he did it solo.
Yeah, he's insane.
Where he was drum soloing with his right foot, left foot, and right hand, and playing the keys with his left hand.
Yeah, he's as nuts as he is on instruments is the same in real life, not on an instrument. He's nuts, and it's so great. He's so all over the place. It's so great to be around that. Someone whose brain is just not working the same as everyone else's.
Oh no!
And just like it just doesn't. We don't get it, and we don't need to get it. We just enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's great.
So we just kind of sat there and tried to take that in. Go ahead. Sorry, Jason.
That's from Ben Tomlin in the.
Let's see. Stanley Jordan played my dad's commencement. University of Miami. That's a great school.
Okay.
So did Julian. Julian Casper went to University of Miami. It's called the Frost Institute, I believe. If it was then, I don't know how long ago you went to school, but it is called that now. And I have some friends who went there, and it's great. With RJ Rancolio. Oh, wow. Very nice. I've never met RJ. I know he's in Nashville, too, and he's obviously huge. We all know.
So how long have you been in Nashville?
A year today. Well, I'm not there right now, but a year would have been a year, I think, literally today, the 16th. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it's a great place.
Yeah, it's a cool place. A lot has happened in a couple months.
Yeah,
but it's a music thing. As musicians go, it's always a struggle to get things going, especially starting from scratch and with nothing. And I'm so young. It's just like.
Well, my big joke about Nashville, and I've updated the joke a little bit, is like the Uber driver that picked you up at the airport to take you where you're going is probably a better musician than you are.
Probably.
There's just so many. So a lot of it is about you, and they call it the hang in Nashville, and how are you, and how do you hang out with people, and
absolutely, which that's literally the entire music scene, and people don't even think about that part of it, which is the hang is all killed. Can't go to bars and hang out. Can't play either at them. It's all. If we just couldn't play shows, but we could all go out and hang out together as musicians, that'd be great. It's like having a superhero meeting. There's no crime. We can still go hang out with superheroes.
Right.
Still commiserate about our superhero problems. Oh, the G string won't stay in tune. Oh my goddamn Les Paul. Like that's stuff that no one else would understand and doesn't need to, but we get to talk about it. So
that'd be a Justice League I'd be down with. But
me too. I'd hope to be in it, even though I know I would not make it in it.
Right? No, I'd be opening the doors and to the virtual hang.
Tom Bukovac and Mike Campbell, and they'd be on guitar.
Right.
Tom Petty's not with us anymore, but he'd sing. And Steve Perry, I don't know if he's still hanging out from Journey or not. He probably doesn't sing anymore.
He kind of was making a little bit of a comeback, but whatever problem he was having got better. But yeah, we've got some questions
here. Listen to Kevin. Actually, you know what? I do not. I'll write that down. I don't even know who that is. This is great.
It says he's a Norwegian guitarist living in Nashville doing the studio guy thing.
Kevin. Do you know how to Ben? Do you know how to pronounce that?
Can you give it to us in emojis that look like sign language?
Probably what it is.
Yeah.
I've not been to Norway. It's one of the countries I want to go to, but I've been to some of those countries in that area, and those names are not easy. Not easy at all. But yeah, I'll look him up. Yeah, Bukovac Supreme Guitar. Yeah, Bukovac is definitely.
So, I mean, one of the things that it looks like you've been doing in Nashville, or before Nashville even, for quite a while, is teaching guitar lessons.
Yes, for a long time. Now more than ever, but yeah, since I was 16, probably I'm my first student. No, even in high school, some point in high school. Went over to someone's house. But yeah, I love it. And
so you're doing that online as well, right?
Yeah, I'm doing it over Skype. Anyone wants Skype lessons can send me a message on Instagram. Don't go to my website because it doesn't work. Instagram or email, which is in my Instagram, I think. Yeah.
How do you
hour?
Do you do that over at Skype? Is it just like the camera on your computer, or how do you?
Yeah, camera on my computer. Yeah, it's so funny. So how do you think some of those demos from Love Pedal, and I promise I'll go back to your question. This is not for no reason. How do you think those were recorded?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because it seems like
I'm not being sarcastic. I'm genuinely curious.
Right. I mean, I've often thought it's maybe even just a cell phone or a camera. It's like kind of a low tech recording way of doing it.
It's a cell phone, and my thing with that was, and one time I did it without one, and Sean was like, "Don't ever do that again." And I'll bleep myself out because he literally used the F word at me because I used a camera with a microphone, and he was like, "That doesn't sound like the pedal," and I was like, "Well." And I explained, I was like, this is why. Because when you buy a pedal, most of us are not hearing it through a set of monitors with a mic, a 57 on the outside of the cone. We're never going to hear a pedal like that. Most of us. Even in the studio, like how many of us are going to be in a studio recording on a real record that's not for friends? Most of us won't do that in our life, ever. So you want the pedal to sound good in the room with your amp. So the phone has a pretty good microphone on it. It's relatively good. Some compression. Now, everyone comments, and I'll address it here because I haven't done a thing like this for everyone needs to quit asking me about the string noise. It is what it is. Buy the pedal or don't buy the pedal. I don't have time. Because if I put a mic on it, it won't sound as good. Then I got to buy a ribbon and have that and do all that and get a mixing, and it's craziness.
Well, TP that pedal show did like a whole episode on this where they
use Neumanns. I don't know how much money that stuff costs.
Yeah, well, they had like room mics and everything. Like they did like their sound, and then they did just the cell phone and just the 57. And
right, and the cell phone, you could hear the string noise on their thing. I watched that pedal show is my favorite. It's like the favorite show ever. Yeah, so I use a phone to record that, which is exactly to answer your question is the same thing. I use the Skype thing, and I use headphones. I think this mic sounds better than the MacBook mic. That doesn't sound real good. And I use just the regular camera because does this look okay? I don't know on your end. It does okay. then that's good. I never asked anyone if it looked good, as long as I can see the guitar. But yeah, I think it's sit in the same spot and we can see what's going on for sure. Angle it down. Yeah. That's how I like to do it. I think it's honest. It's good.
So, I lost my train of thought. Where are we at here?
That was my fault. No, you asked about the Skype lessons.
Right. Yes, we were talking about Skype.
I've come back to say, yeah, I just use the Skype. I think it's a good way of doing it for right now. Maybe that's crazy.
It's kind of like anything, I guess. You could get into the. I got the GoPro. I got like 3 different camera angles, right. But I mean, if you can get,
because it would, it's one of those things where do you want your effort? Where do you want your efforts to lie? And also, you can't. You know how hard it would be to move all that? I can do this from anywhere. Mm-hmm. This is just I need my guitar, and I probably couldn't bring a Tweed Twin everywhere to some like hotel, but that's what I'm playing through. But I could get a smaller amp. That's not hard. And then instead of having a mic and it's a whole thing. I think it's a reduced essence, as it were. It's a little easier.
So would typical so say somebody wanted to take a lesson, all right? So how do you figure out? I mean, is there? Because I'm imagining that you do anything from people that are just like, I just bought a guitar to I've been playing since 19 whatever, and
mostly that second one.
So how do you figure out where to maybe start with somebody?
Well, first I ask them, what do they want to get out of these? Because if it's just my agenda, that's pointless, and I'll make you go practice vibrato and bending till we're done having lessons, because that's what I think is important. But what they think is important is probably different. And it's going to be to ask, what do you want to sound like? And I'm also not going to teach you stuff just the fact for you to know it. If you're not going to use it, then that's pointless. I don't see a need in that. Like if someone asks me, I want to get around the fretboard, and they don't play professionally where you can just figure it out on your own live, then I'm going to say you need to learn the positions of your modes. I think that's important because it helped me navigate. Because if you know G, your G modes from here all the way to here, then that means in G major, like 1 to 4, you have this entire area at your disposal that have notes available to you that will work over most diatonic chords, if not all. So that's what we go. That's what I ask first. That's how I answer that question. How do you navigate? How do you add different notes in? It's going to be mainly if people come to me for tone also. So I'm going to separate that and like finding your own sound. That's different. I'm going to go with, you have to learn your modes. And do you know your pentatonics? That's the first thing. Do you know them everywhere? Do you know all your root notes are? Do you know every G on the guitar and how fast do you know it? Do you have to think about it? That's another thing. So that's what, like, this is all where the Berkeley part of this comes in, where I can still learn ZZ Top stuff, and I will forever, and try to get that sound and the feel and all that stuff, because that's the most important thing. Bending, vibrato, feel, tone, touch, all that. But if you want to learn how to get around, it's all different for everybody, but I think you have to know that stuff. That really helps a lot, because then there's no dead spots. You're not stuck on simple things because you ran out of your box.
Right.
It's not a good way to look at the guitar, in my opinion. It's necessary.
Because I know, like, one of the things that I've often like wanted to learn more about, I guess, is like, and I would think, so if somebody said to you, like, all right, I want to learn more about chords, like how to like not just be stuck in maybe
right,
some bar chords or whatever, how to like substitute chords, how to get from one chord to another.
Yep.
That would probably go in with maybe like learning the modes better too, as well. Would those two things match?
Yes, definitely. Because I mean, like, in intervallically is a big thing. Intervallically speaking, chords are super important. Like, you don't need every note in a chord. Like in this, I won't use the gold thing; it's not plugged in. But in this, you don't need all those notes. That's why Jimi Hendrix did this. Because you don't need 3 roots. You don't need 2 5s. You just need root. And you need 2 roots, I guess, because it sounds rock. And then 3rd and a 5th. You don't need extra notes. So when you start thinking about chords like that, then you can start moving things. You go inversions is what we call it, where you put the 3rd in the bass or the 5th in the bass. Blues has a lot of, on the 4 chord, has a lot of 5th in the bass rather than the root. So building chords like that is a way. I think you should also be really aware of like where all your sixths are and your fourths and all that stuff. That's how I would say chords and modes go together, because you start looking at modes, it's like, okay, Mixolydian is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 1. And you know that automatically. So then you start building things from that. So think of things like that instead of notes like A, B, C. That's just like bananas.
Hmm. So I mean, the moral of the story is, for anybody that's watching it right now or watches the replay of it, if you're kind of in that rut,
yes, that is, yeah, definitely the place to come if you're in a rut, because I remember being in one, and when I still get in them, that's the way I get out, is learn more about chords, or I transcribe. That's kind of what I wish I had more students who were more as serious as I was when I was anyone's age. I'm going to say younger because a lot of them are older than me who take lessons from me. But like learning an entire solo is super important, or a whole song, like everything about it, all the bends, all the tonality of it, trying to get the tone, because then you end up just stealing all of it, and then it's all you. It's no longer someone else.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Big part of any lesson would be learning solos. Transcribing is so important. Yeah.
Do you find that you can teach somebody then to learn, like to use their ear to learn? That's the only way. That's not the only way to learn. I don't want to be that bold about it, but I think that's the only way to really learn something, is to understand the sound of it. And then you understand that certain chords have a sound. Like you could, like if I asked my mom why this sounds sad, she'd have no godly idea. But if you understand that this sounds sad because of this progression and this tonality, and this is a sus and this is a minus or a minor and all this stuff, then you can understand it that way. That's how your ears are valuable. You need to know everything by ears. Learning solos by ear too. I don't mean reading it. Tab is awful. Don't do that. And I think notation is not, even though I went to Berkeley, it's not strictly necessary for most working musicians. I don't think anyone's going to hand me a melody chart written out. Just play it for me. Just play it for me and I'll learn it. Just give me a couple times. I'll figure it out. I guess that's not the easiest thing, but you gotta practice that. It's easier than reading on guitar, which is the worst thing ever. Definitely the worst thing ever. Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard to read on guitar. And I know no one at school's been watching this. They can give me crap all day. That was the thing I'm worst at then. I'm worst at it now. I don't do it a lot. I practice it just because I have like a real heaviness over me to still do it, because I'm like, all right, I went to Berkeley and I had to learn, and my teachers would yell at me, so I should know how to do it a little bit. But I don't ever do it for work. No one's paying me to read. That's ridiculous.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ben asked if you usually voice altered dominants as chords.
I slash chords. I think he's going to mean slash chords. Do I voice it that way? Probably not. I don't think so. As slash chords? No, because it's just one. It's just, yeah. No. You mean write it? I feel like he means write it. Voice it as. Altered dominant chords are cool. I don't come up. You mean just like because an altered dominant chord could literally just be an alt, like just the Jimi Hendrix chord is technically an altered dominant chord. Sharp 9, flat 9. So yeah, I wouldn't voice it as that. Oh yeah, now everyone's gonna see me stupid guitar. Technically, those are altered versions of and sharp 9, 9, flat 9. So yeah, I don't think I wouldn't voice them as slash chords. So that's cool though. Slash chords are great. Michael Jackson slash chords are all over that. All over that music, pop music, funk music. Good question. Yeah, Tom, we'll have to talk. What does he say with crappy plant? These are funny. I don't know this.
What do you got, Pat?
He's funny.
I'm just, I just kind of back to the love pedal thing, and we're not going to.
Yeah, of course. No, please.
But I'm circling back to that because I just find it interesting that, like, how did you, form the relationship with Shawn Michaels? How did that come about? And
I bought. Yeah, go ahead. No, keep going.
No, well, I'm just saying, like, so, like, at what age did that start? I mean, were you already at Berkeley? Was it before that? Like,
I was at Berkeley. Yeah.
Okay.
So it would have been 2017, I think. Yeah, I was gonna look, but yeah, 2017, and I got into Josh Smith, and that's how most people say all this stuff. So I got into Josh Smith, and I think while I was at home, actually, at Berkeley one summer, instead of being in Boston over the summer, I bought a Chula, a gold one, which I later found out was a special one with jacks on the side, not on the top, and I sold it and didn't know. Sean's like, "Oh, I used to make those really good ones with the jacks on the side." I was like, "Was it gold on the side?" Yeah, I'm gonna kill myself now. But yeah, and I sold it and didn't know. That thing sounded great. It wouldn't sound good through my Twin or my Tweed. They don't really sound good with Tweed amps, in case anyone's asked me that question and I don't answer on YouTube. But then I bought a brown face deluxe, the white pedal with the clear knobs, and it was a brown face voiced deluxe pedal. And then I bought a special edition purple plexi. It was white with purple letters. And I made videos and posted them. And then Sean reached out to me and was like, "Wow, all this stuff," and really bigged me up. And then started sending me pedals to do demos. So he would send me the pedals, and I would keep the pedals and do all the demos. And there's some really great ones. Some really great. I have that. I think I still have it somewhere. The big box Amp 11. If anyone can find a big box version of that, buy that up, because it's got a cot on the right side of it, and an Amp 11 that sounds different than the single box one. I don't know why, but it does. It sounds ace. I did the Berkeley Blues night. I got into that, and it was 4 acts, and I used that pedal, the Reverb 3, through a Twin, a blackface Twin, and it was a good tone. I listen back now, I was like, I wish they would have let me be louder though.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
that is the case always.
Yeah, luckily in Nashville, people have been really cool about it. I know everyone's saying you got to turn it down, but like, I take this amp and it's not on, and I'm not going to play it now because it's really loud, and this would probably crush this. But it's people don't tell me to turn it down. In fact, I've gotten told to turn up a few times. Weirdly, it's a 2x12 50-watt Tweed Twin. It's loud. It's nice though. It's a good thing being told to turn up. You're like, "Oh, you got it. Sure. You sure? You sure you said the right word there at the end? You sure?" That's weird. But yeah, so the love pedal thing was started that way, and some of those videos have 20,000 views, which is mental because they're on his website. I'm on his website with Chris Buck, and who's a monster. I don't know if people know him, but he's great.
The British guy?
Yeah, he's I think he's Welsh, in fact.
Yeah, he's great.
It's up there somewhere. No, Chris is really cool. Him and I have talked a few times, and yeah, there's lots of players. I love Josh Smith, one of my buddies.
So it's probably a little stereotypical, but in your playing at Nashville, have you made it down to the Broadway scene and played any of those places?
Everyone has told me to not do that, so I have not done it.
Right.
It'd be cool. I do it once in a while, but they don't really make a lot of money, and that's not going to fly for 4 hours. I could do other things for 4 hours.
Right.
It's kind of a strange thing. I would do it. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I definitely would, just to see what it's like. I go down there and hang out because it's cool. Obviously, when family comes into town, I'm like, we're going to Broadway. Why? Because there's nothing else to do if we don't go to Broadway. That's why. I'm not going to sit in my house. Your house is better than my house, so let's go to Broadway. But yeah, cool. I like being down there. It's a cool place for music. Definitely for music, obviously.
Well, that reminds me that Brian Landreth, Pat, asked me to ask Sebastian about Shawn Michaels. He was like, maybe you can get some information on Shawn out of him because he seems like he's such a I think the word it was used was at some point was recluse, you know? Nothing on the internet about him, really, you know.
No, there's a reason for that. I think he's got I think he's got a lot going on in his life. Not in a bad way. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just meant he's got 2 kids and a wife, and I don't know if he needs to build pedals. I don't really know. Him and I have talked a few times, like on the phone, about that. Only a few, actually, in the past 3 years. Maybe 4 times, 5 times. But yeah.
Pedals like a side thing for him, then? Or is that what he does?
No. It's definitely not a side thing at all. I just don't think no, it's not a side thing. Like, there's a couple pedal builders that like do other crazy work that's like really difficult and also build pedals. Like, what's his name? I think Ron Ellis. You guys know the guy who makes pickups, Ron Ellis?
Yeah. Somebody was talking about him in the chat the other day.
He's a freaking like Astro something.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right.
He's an Astro engineer like Brian May, but Brian May obviously didn't do that on the side. But yeah, so I don't think Sean does that. Sean just makes pedals, designs pedals. I've talked to Alfonso Hermida on the phone too, because now Sean owns that, I think.
So maybe you can make that connection for us, because we've always tried to figure out what that is. And
Alfonso is another one.
And that relationship and how it works. And
I don't really know how the relationship works. One time though, Alfonso sent me a bunch of. I don't want to know. I'm good. I'll play guitar. Soon as guitar players and musicians and even anyone who's of any note, even if it's for just love pedal small things on YouTube, start saying what they think, doesn't ever go well. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But I'll tell you,
if you don't know, if you don't know, don't have.
Yeah, I know what I know, and I don't need to tell anyone else because it's nonsense. But anyway, so the one thing I have that only happened between me, those two guys ever. Alfonso, Sean gave Alfonso Hermida, which that is his name. It's not just Hermida is actually his last name. And Sean's last name is not Love Pedal, but gave Alfonso my phone number. I was like, talk to him. And Alfonso called me up and we talked for a while. He's in Florida, I think. And he's just like, man, I'm sitting in my room surrounded by God knows how many guitar pedals and amps and all this stuff. Then he was like, I'm gonna dig through my old stuff and send you things. So I don't use it because I got in trouble from Sean, and we're getting there. I posted a video of the Zen Drive 2 with the tube in it, a original one that was signed and all that stuff when Alfonso made it. I posted a Zen Drive, like the British voice Zen Drive, which is hard to find. That has like a little tube thing, I think, and then something else. And he sent me those two pedals, and they are absolutely insanely good. Like the whole hype of find an old one, you gotta like it. It's not really my thing. The Dumble sound's not really my thing, but they're amazing. I posted a picture of it, and Sean called me. He was like, "What the f are you doing?" I was like, "What do you mean? I'm posting a pedal that you kind of sort of make, but don't." And then he was like, "Get that off immediately because people are going to be hitting me up to buy it, and I'm not making it anymore. Like it's dangerous. It's got a tube in it." He's like, "I'm not doing that. It costs too much money. It's too hard. It's a pain." And so that was my in between of those two was like, and then I called Alfonso. He's like, and then Sean was like, "I'm going to kill him." And he was like, "It's nice he sent you those." And then Alfonso one time was like, "What about I send you this?" I was like, "No, I'm good. Thanks though."
I'm like, send me whatever you want. Just don't expect to see a video of it. But I'll keep checking the stuff.
Right, which I feel bad about because he probably wants to hear it.
Right.
I mean, and people want to see it. I wish it wasn't, which is why I'm kind of glad I'm doing less of the love pedal stuff now. As much as I would definitely do more of it. But I didn't want to be the guy on Instagram was just like, let's go here, love pedal, and then we'll leave.
Yeah.
And then if anyone only comes to, I didn't want to be the shrine of Love Pedal Hermida because then I can't just have guitar pedals because I like them. People are going to think I got them from somebody. Like all these other, like that Jesse Davey one, I paid for that. Zonk Machine stuff, I paid for that. I mean, it's just like, I don't want to be, it's nice as it is to get free things.
Sure.
I would rather do the demo, get paid the money for it, and not have to have the pedal because then I got paid for work, not as I have to be this thing now, which is hard.
Yeah. Well, I think I saw something on Instagram. I'm not sure how recent it was because I was going down a pretty deep trail to find out more about you. But you posted like these are the 5 pedals or 6 pedals I would put on my board, and I think 2 of them were left pedal and the rest weren't, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't have any right now just because this is what I like. People have been nice. Someone gave me a full drive too, and I never used one. And it's an older one, I think. It's amazing. It sounds like a Marshall through my thing. It sounds unbelievable, but not the vintage or the flat mid setting because those are tube screamers, and I hate those. So the compression cut thing, Coternity. Someone has asked me that. Yes, Coternity is awesome. My friend in Boston, Dom Tonality, still has mine, so I might have to get it back at some point. But he can play with it. He's a producer. He can do that. But yeah, no tubes. I can't even. We're not even gonna get into that. That'd be a whole other hour. Why no tube screamer? You can hear the clean signal. What the heck do I want to hear that for? Crazy.
Well, that just sounds like a part 2, right? Because we started this as 19 conversations, sort of as a joke, and we're on like 23. We're on like 23 now. We're not that bad at math, you know what I mean? But
I'm listening to 17. I was like, this was not 2 podcasts ago. This date.
No,
so I was so confused. Like, what is 19? Maybe you meant COVID-19. I didn't really get what you meant. Has to be that
because YouTube had some strict rules, and I wanted to call it 19 COVID stations, right? But I got poo-pooed. So we just had to use the word 19, and then we did kind of throw a shark in the tank because we're not really the live broadcasters. We do like the more pre-recorded stuff.
Yeah.
So I threw the shark in the tank, and we had to do 19 conversations, and then the world was not going to go back to normal anytime soon. So we're just making people think we're horrible at math, which isn't that much of a stretch for me. But
Yeah, me too. I'm not. Math and science were not my strong suits, and still aren't. But
19 conversations is better than like COVID conversations. Or I mean, we don't want.
Yeah, I mean, 19 conversations sounds like. I think there's a wine called 19
Crimes. Yeah,
19 Crimes. That has nothing to do with any. It probably has to do with some really horrible historic event. Probably.
It kind of does, but here's what you got to do. Like, we're getting off into the weeds here real quick, but 19 Crimes actually has like a QR code on it, and you download an app, and if you wave it over the label, the person on the label starts to talk to you and tell you their story about how they were like in England and got exiled to Australia.
Yeah, okay.
And
that's terrible. That's a hard, but yeah. So
I think that's what the backstory is. Yeah,
yours is better than that. 19 conversations. That's a lie. Is fine.
Right.
Better than exporting criminals to Australia who are now the people who live in Australia.
Right. But they're the living labels. It's freaky, man. You
That's really
swipe
cool.
that across. You're like, wait, I didn't drink the whole bottle. I'm not sure why this thing is talking to me.
Yeah, was this absinthe?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Right. So
that's funny, but yeah, Love Pedal, good stuff. Buy them.
Yeah.
They're not expensive. No one has an excuse to not buy them. I mean, and they sound great, but you kind of gotta know how to play. You kind of gotta understand your tone to play those. That's all my favorite things. You got to understand what's going on with your sound and know how to use it, because it's not easy to use. The Chula is not easy to use. Got to play loud.
Right. I've actually stayed away from the Chula because the idea of like I where Pat and I play every week on Sundays.
Awesome.
I walk in and look at my amp, and the sound guy goes, "You're too loud."
Right.
Don't even turn it.
Yeah.
Chula would never work in that situation.
Unless you keep it on all the time. That's what it's designed for. It's to keep it on all the time, and then you ride your volume, because it cleans up like really ridiculously well. It's like a fuzz. It cleans up like a fuzz space.
Which is the way I like to play. I mean, I like to just keep the drive on all the time and ride the volume knob, but
that's good, because then you set the stand. It's set to stun. More of like let's kick it on now, because then everything gets 5 dB louder, even if it's broken up. Like, even if the amp's compressed, it still gets a little bit louder. I don't really know how that's possible, but it does. So if you keep it on all the time, which is kind of what Josh Smith does, it's on pretty much all the time, and he's running it at 2 amps.
Right, but I just got this feeling that it like
not easy. It's a hard thing.
Yeah, if I'm running an amp it's like a 30-watt amp at 3.5.
What gear do you guys use? I gotta ask. I can't just be asking me what I use. What do you guys play through? PJ, go for it, or anybody?
I like Mesa stuff. I have a Mesa Transatlantic 30, but I also like the PV Classic stuff. It's kind of bulletproof, kind of simple.
Yep, PV Classic.
My friend Brody, who I talked about earlier, he kind of turned me on. So I have a PV Classic 30 combo, got a PV Classic 30 head with the original 112 from the original time they did that.
Yeah.
But I like Mesa stuff as well. So
yeah, I did a demo for the Mesa, not for Mesa, but for the Guitar Sanctuary in McKinney, Texas. I used to live in Texas when I was in high school, and I did the Tweed, the California Tweed.
Yeah,
monstrous. I would have definitely bought that amp. It's a great amp. I would maybe one day.
So then, Jason.
Oh, what do you play? What guitar do you play? Okay.
I like PRSs. I'm looking at across the room, but I have a PRS single cut hollow body that's probably my number one. It's got Starla pickups in it. It's super light. Nice. Anything with an F hole. I'm in.
So funny. We are it's so great. We had a good conversation because we are the opposite when it comes to gear. PRS and Mesa.
Right. But not like the
No, I know, of course.
The triple rectifier.
What's his name plays the Mesa.
Tremonti.
No, amazing guitar player. He plays in the Aquarium Rescue Unit. Jimmy Herring. He plays all the time. He's amazing.
Right.
Great.
Jason.
Well, Pat had a PV Classic 30.
Oh, the 410 or what do you guys? Which one? Because a bunch of them.
I have the 112 combo.
Yep, and then the head.
I also have the head, but then I have 410 cabinets. I have the 15 cabinets. And these are all the original Tweed ones that they don't make anymore.
Yeah, I know.
But those don't come out as much. It's really the closed-back 112 that is paired up with the one head.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
but Jason,
started playing with him. That was there, and so that has been the amp of that I've used in that situation forever.
Yeah.
so much like it fell in love with it. I actually bought one, so there's one sitting back that I have too. But
right.
That it was always like it's always been like a Fender on a clean channel. I had a Fender Super Amp that when I was playing kind of like a blues kind of band, that it was a Fender Super Amp.
Yeah, I know, but
on
like
the clean channel, or a Fender Hot Rod or something like that.
They're good.
Clean channel, something Fender clean. Overdrive, use the Barber Electronics we've talked about a lot. He's going to be on Hack Show tonight, by the way.
I gotta look more of that stuff up. I've been talking to Monster Mike Welsh, who's a great blues guitar player. He plays Barber stuff, and he's unbelievable. And those pedals sound so good. The LTD, I think, is one of them.
Right. Well, the Game Changer is now the Game Changer has like all of his LTD pedals kind of in there.
Really?
So it has like 3 different gain modes and Game Changer and the Direct Drive. They're both. It's funny you mentioned him because Barber actually mentioned him to us that he was going to try and reach out to him for us to have him on the show.
Please, he's honestly probably the best blues guitar player alive, and I know I talked to him a bunch of times, and I know he probably won't like me saying that, but he's staggeringly good.
If you talk to him, tell him to answer Dave Barber so we can get him on the show.
Yeah, I will. I'll talk to him. He writes back to me on Instagram and writes my stories, and he's such a nice guy. He's a Boston guy, actually.
And
at least
the Paul Reed Smith McCarty, which is
PRS crew. I love it. 2 PRS is good on the stage.
So I mean, awesome. We'll play anything. I'll play.
What's your? But is that like what are your grails?
What's what?
What's your grail guitar? Don't say PRS.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like if you could have one, like even if it just looked amazing, like what is it? What do you want? What do you want to see yourself playing? Because I know, I mean, like mine is a Les Paul, obviously. Pretty
straight. You know, when I first started being interested in guitar, a lot of people played Strats. So I mean, some, you know, maybe a 60, maybe just like Eric Johnson for one, right? So there's your
54.
There's your 54. You know,
Sunburst. I played one Sunburst at Carter's. It was $75,000, and it was probably the best electric guitar I've ever played. I'm not just saying that to make you upset.
Carter's is a magical. Carter's is a magical place, and we're hoping to get Zach Broyles on from Mythos, who actually used to work at Carter's.
I talked to Zach a few times. Yeah, he's great.
I usually don't do this, but he's agreed to come on once he gets through his big push from the builds he's doing right now.
He's really great.
Yeah.
So the Holy Grail guitar. It sounds stupid. I really like the guitar that I've had for like.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Years.
Yeah, I know.
But I'll say this. I was playing at a blues a blues picnic for the Blues Society of Central PA.
Those are always.
And there was this older guy. He was older than me. I was like in my 20s at the time. All right. And he walked up. He's kind of like a local legend.
Yeah.
Should have been a famous guitar player, whatever. But
all right, sure.
We all should have been famous guitar players. Yeah. Hands me this old blonde butterscotch Telly that has the wear, right? Like the whole, like the neck is rotten on the edges.
Love it.
He handed it to me. I might have played 3 notes on it, ran my hand up and down, and handed it back. And I have never forgotten that guitar.
Yeah, no, those are special.
Something like that, you know, something like a Grail guitar would have to be one of those ones that was played by somebody a whole heck of a lot and broken in and old and just
because it means it was good. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna like whether it's I mean, I've always wanted a gold top too.
You know what's so funny? I always ask these people the Grail questions, but then it would be, I had so many memories with this guitar and everything, and just so much practice and so much everything. It's always been there. It sounds like I'm talking about a person, but it might be this forever. It needs new frets. The frets are flat because I just bend all the time, and it's old. It's never been refretted. It's 9 years old.
But I mean, we have a bunch of guitars. I mean, I have a bunch of guitars. He has a bunch of guitars. I don't have a party that I've been playing since 2000.
That's amazing. Yeah, we all because you develop a bond, which is kind of not the point of a Grail thing. That's why it's kind of a weird question. But I figured I'd ask because for me, it's like I want a 58 dark back or a 57 gold top. I don't want to burst. Everyone loves bursts. I don't know. They're cool. They look cool, but I don't love the way I don't know. I wouldn't want to look at a burst every day. It's like some people are attractive, but I don't want to look at them every day. It's just all right. You're cool. You're whatever. I want to look at this though, every day, all day, with no pick guard. Before everyone starts bastardizing gold tops, take the pick guard off. It used to be zebra with no pick guard, zebra pickups when I got it stock. And everyone was like, "Is that a Slash guitar?" And I was like, "If you say that one more time, I'm going to break over your head." No, Slash is very overrated. You can't even do vibrato.
I would never buy the guitar that I have. That's like probably the favorite. I would never buy this color.
Why? It's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it is. But I mean, it's just weird that I ended up with a red guitar that would be my favorite guitar because I would probably be more.
Yeah. Traditional.
More of like something a little more classic. I've never been a big Pat loves Sunburst. I've never been a big Sunburst.
Sunburst on Fenders, yes. That kind of Sunburst, that's my dream Fender, is a maple neck something with a Sunburst Strat. Like, that's definitely the thing. But on a Gibson, it's cool. It's just a thing. I don't know.
And it's not too over the top for PRS. It's not a 10 top or anything like that.
No, but PRS makes I don't gel with them, but they don't not sound good. They sound good. So they sound really great. And it's just, to me, it's like, I don't not have a PRS because I don't like the way it sounds. It sounds amazing. It's just the feel. I don't know what it is. I almost need something that's like a little worse, almost, if you know what I mean. Like, yeah, that's nice.
So Silverburst probably wouldn't have been my first choice. I mean, it's kind of like
that's nice. That's thick, though. That's a thick.
Yeah, it's really nice.
That's awesome. I've never seen that in the flesh. Well,
it's got Starla pickups in it, and it does have the split, which I do like in this one.
His are good. His split and his tremolo are the best tremolo.
Yeah, so I mean, between Jason and I, we have several PRSs, and they're called Cores now. They weren't called Core then, but we pretty much bought most of them pre-owned, and so you kind of find them at the price point and you like them, and so we're not like picking all the appointments. We don't have a bird on any of the necks under the several that we have. It's kind of funny, but
oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So I'm going to throw a shout out to Ben in the chat real quick. He said that he lost one of his students lost 2 grandparents this week. And so he's actually a teacher too, and he works with autistic.
Sorry to hear that. Tell your students.
I found that out for him being in the chat. And so like it's a weird time for teachers with everybody trying to teach these kids at home and stuff, and then to have the kid going through that and not being able to connect. Sorry to hear that, man. That's
terrible. Yeah.
So we are at, believe it or not, an hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I was just looking at that.
Yeah, trying to keep them at an hour because that's what we tell people.
Yep. Sorry to make you guys go over. I do that.
We usually take our cues from the guest as well, right? Like, we could keep going, but
Sean told me to make shorter video. One time I made a video, it was like 20 minutes. I was like, I can't even send this to you. It's way too long. We started playing. I had to stop. Anyway, that's great. I appreciate you guys having me on. Really, it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, that's the last thing. Thanks so much for being on and hanging out. And cool thing about these is they all get, they get logged, and hopefully people that are looking will come out and find you in there. And
I'll definitely share it on everything. For sure.
Well, I just want to say real quick, it's really funny, and we're so happy to have you on because, like I said, in some weird way, we felt like we already knew you because we watched so many videos.
Yeah,
but the soft little underbelly of this, the very official way that Sebastian wound up on our show. I was watching one of his Instagram stories. He's like, "Ask me anything," and I'm like, "Will you come on our YouTube show?"
my answer is going to be yes to everything.
Yeah. That's the way we do all of our bookings, right? We just go.
Normally, it's like a formal email that I have to send out, which is a good thing we didn't do it that way.
What? For it to get lost? For it to not work like before? When you emailed me, I was like, what the heck?
Right.
It turns out I got locked out of one of my Gmails because they thought someone got into it. And then after I fixed it all, it was fine. Yeah, I got all your emails 5 times. It was great.
That's right. You can never hear enough from us.
It was great. No, it was great. I really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great hanging out with you.
You as well.
Yeah. I think that, if you're watching and you're still hanging out and you haven't subscribed to the channel, do that. Also go out Sebastian Falvo Music on YouTube and you can subscribe to his channel too. And
follow him on Instagram. Good content. Lots of stories every day. It's cool.
Nice licks and stuff coming. I usually do most of it on Instagram, but I'll try to make YouTube better. Yeah. But yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man. So thanks for coming on. So with as we always end our shows, I'm PJ, on behalf of the beard, which I still there he is over there. So PJ, on behalf of the beard, reminding you, no matter what you hear, you never have too much gear.
Never.
Peace out.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
See ya.
Absolutely.